So why don't we do that? It's You Call.
You called. Presented by Playground.
Actually, you messaged or you questioned. It's brought to you by Playground, your premier gaming destination, located just over the Mercier Bridge, only minutes from downtown Montreal. So why don't we get to some of these questions? Let's go for it right now. This one coming in from Tony Prigioniero. Tony, does Grant think Michkov goes into the top 5, even with the uncertainty of Russian players, or can Montreal steal him with Florida's pick in the top 10, which is currently pick number 9? Grant, where do you see Michkov going, knowing that he's signed in the KHL and he's going to have to be there for at least a couple more years?
That's the $1 million question this year. I have no idea where he's going to go. There's a lot of teams that I don't think will draft a Russian at all this year. Not only the uncertainty of Ukraine and Russia, the war, but also, he's got several years left on his KHL contract too. Nobody's getting to scout him this year. And there's a lot of teams that don't even have Russian scouts this year. They can't get money they can't pay their scouts in Russia because they can't get money into Russia. There's a lot of teams that I've talked to that don't even have Russian scouts this year, and they can't go in and see him, and he can't come here to play. So how do you draft a kid that you don't even see live in his draft year in the top 5? It's going to take a lot of chutzpah. The only guy that I could see that'd be something Yzerman would do. He's done it before, like Vichelnikov last year. Nobody in North America saw this kid. I think they scouted him just on video, but he was lights out. Every scout that I talked to, have you seen Vichelnikov? Do you have him on your list? No. And I kept looking at him, and he was just like, he looks like the next Datsuk. And who drafts him? Detroit in the second round in the mid 40s last year. So if any team is going to do it, nobody was drafting Russians when Yzerman drafted Vasilevsky 21st overall, let alone goalies.
Yeah.
It's a type of thing that's a Steve Yzerman type move, but I don't believe Montreal is taking any Russians this year. I've done it. I've been talking to a few guys and stuff, and my understanding and from what I can discern, don't even, it's not happening with the Florida pick. It's not happening with the Montreal pick. It's not happening with any of their picks, I don't think.
All right, couple more questions. Here we go. This one coming in from Tony S. What do we do if Slavkovsky does poorly in the American Hockey League? Wouldn't that kill his confidence even more? Grant, is that one of your concerns?
Well,
sending him down or not?
Well, I disagree that his confidence killed to begin with. So, I don't think his confidence is killed as it is. So, no, I don't agree that it would kill his confidence even more, because I don't think he lacks confidence.
All right, next. They're all for you, these questions, Grant. This one here coming in from Dimitrios Ritalis. Any thoughts on Gallagher? Any value on the market if Montreal retains part of his salary?
Oh, I've been thinking about writing this article for the last few weeks that, maybe it's time to finally shop the guy that, a few years ago it seemed like was indispensable, but they would have to retain salary with that contract. And would be teams interested? I don't know. If they're scouting him, certainly there's got to be a lot of concern, because he just seems like a shell of himself out there, Tony.
It's too late to shop him, Grant. Like, he should have been traded before actually signing that contract with the Canadians.
Well, probably.
Hindsight is 2020, right? And it's the stock market, right? You trade an asset when it's at a high, not when it's at a low, and you have to know when to sell a stock. And the Canadians, because of Marc Bergevin's loyalty to Brendan Gallagher and his love, and by the way, we can all understand it, right? Very lovable guy. All of us would take him on our team. But I mean, this car has been going into the garage very, very often in the last couple of years for repairs, and the car is never the same. Next.
Yeah.
BL Duff, I watch a lot of World Juniors. I've seen a lot of Habs games, and I won't be shocked if Logan Cooley ends up 5 years from now being the best of the 2022 draft class. He seems like the best talent, Grant.
No, you can't, the best talent that was at the World Junior.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of guys. Mintyukov, wasn't even at the tournament. He's lighting up the OHL defenseman. He's just putting up unreal numbers. There's a lot of guys that could end up being the best guy in the draft class. Like that wasn't a McDavid draft. There's no clear-cut guy that's gonna, that's gonna be the best. So
correct. When no one runs away with the draft, then at that point it's anyone's draft and anyone could go end up being at the top. Like that's when there's no generational talent and there's no franchise player. And there's no generational talent and probably no franchise player in that draft last year. And then it could be anybody. It could be Nemec. It could be Wright. It could be Slavkovsky. It could be Cooley. It could be
exactly
neither of those. It could be Jiricek. It could be anybody.
Could be the guy I ranked number 2 overall, Noah Ostlund. Could be. He was the player of the game for Sweden today. He had a fantastic game.
They scored,
He's wait till next year's tournament. Like he's just got to get stronger. He's just such a dynamic. I still love him to death.
Good for you. I love you too. Okay, we'll end it with this one. One more, okay? We should have ended it on I love you, but do you trade 2 first rounders? Would you trade your 2 first rounders and Cole Caufield for the number 1 pick overall?
Sure. Yeah. But the other team's not going to accept.
Yeah, listen, the team that gets the first pick overall will not trade that pick.
No.
So in the meantime, let's just hope that the Montreal Canadiens will. And, a lot of people are saying, well, Gary Bettman is going to make sure that Connor Bedard goes to Arizona. Why? Connor McDavid ended up in Edmonton. I mean, would Gary Bettman, did he arrange for Connor McDavid to end up in Edmonton? We'll see what can happen. Anything can happen. Obviously, the Canadiens would need to lose more games and need to be more near the bottom to increase their chances of having the number 1 pick. At the end of the day, it's a lottery. It is what it is. I'm Marinaro, and that clip you just watched is from our most recent episode of the Sick Podcast. Once again, follow us on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's absolutely free, and you'll be notified when we go live. I'm Marinaro. Tell your friends about it. This podcast, like me, it's pretty sick.